Hi guys, this is Holistic Health Harry, Alkaline Rise Talk Show. Today is New Year's Eve, and we're joined by a very special guest, Mr. Seth Rakes. Hello, Seth. How you doing, buddy?
Hey Harry, I'm doing great. How are you, man?
I'm really good, man. This is like the end of 2019, 2000. What a way to end. You're literally going to be my last interview of the decade. Last interview of the
Whoa,
decade. Yeah,
dude,
we're gonna rock it, man. Was one of your first, right? Is this one of your first interviews, I believe, or sorry?
this is my first interview.
Wow, what a way to end it for me and for you to your beginnings. This is awesome, brother. So yeah,
This is
I just want to introduce the people and say that I've known you on Facebook last year, this year and a bit last year. You were one of my favorite people, and you disappeared for a little while, and I was like, oh, where's he gone? And I was always hoping you'd come back, and you resurfaced last month on YouTube and the month before and Facebook. I'm so glad that now we're speaking to each other in person, and you're back on Facebook. So yeah, I'm really pleased.
yeah, bro. Last year on Facebook, I had about at least like 600 or so friends, and out of every single person, I resonated with your posts the most because you're always pursuing. It's like, okay, what health strategy can I start now? What health protocol can I start now? And you're always trying to help people, and that just always resonated with me, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. I feel like when you post, I feel like everyone's my soul family on Facebook, don't get me wrong, but I feel like
Yeah,
you're me more than anyone. Like, I see your post and like, oh my God, I could have written the exact same things, but it's not me. It's my brain implanted into you, or your brain. We're just like one brain. That's how I look at it.
bro, I've had very similar feelings. Like whenever I read some of your stuff, and I'm just like, man, I feel that. I feel it.
It's beautiful, brother. It's beautiful. Okay, so let's start by a generic question, but I do want to know, how did you get into? We touched base a little bit off there. How did you get into the position you find yourself now, preaching, practicing, and perfecting your art of health journey? How did you start?
So back in 2011, I was eating a very, very, very typical standard American diet full of meat and refined sugars and sodas and chocolates and all that stuff, right? And I'm in a punk band at the time, and I played guitar. And two of my bandmates were vegans, and one of them had his 21st birthday was coming up, and so he had this big birthday bash at his house, and everyone had fun. Everyone's swimming in the pool. He had a saltwater pool, actually. That was a cool experience.
Cool.
And after the party, he had like vegan barbecue and like vegan junk food, right?
Mm.
Stuff I was never exposed to. It was really, really cool to experience, coming from someone who just ate like chicken wings and burgers and all that stuff. So anyways, after he fed us all this kind of vegan junk food, he took us upstairs and showed us Earthlings, this incredible documentary that can be quite traumatic, actually. But it shocked me out of my hypnosis, really. It made me confront some things in myself. It was very powerful. And everyone in the room cried, and we had to pause the movie like 3 times because it was hard to get through. And there was about 25 of us up in that room, I think, and about 4 or 5 of us just changed our minds like that. So that was what kickstarted like everything that I think, feel, know, and believe within, as of right now, started that night watching that documentary. So I immediately cut meat out. I have been meat free since 2011.
Whoa, 8 years, brother. That's quite a long time. That really is.
Yeah, yeah. And immediately, saw some detoxing. Nothing major, of course, because I was still eating quite a bit of processed foods. But man, I was eating like, if you can imagine eating 3 meals a day with meat in every meal, it's like,
Yep.
gee, man, for decades almost.
Wow, yeah, 3 meals a day, it's going to kill you anyway, but you're top of that, you're dashing some meats down to it. Yeah, that would fuck you up, bro.
One thing to do, yeah, and it did, man. I actually, dude, I used to get, so I remember being really, it's funny how this term self-conscious is negative, but I used to be self-conscious. I had, in middle school, I had they call it bacne. I had acne all over my shoulders, and I thought it had been because of my football pads. Because my coach used to say like, "Oh, it's just because you're sweating under your shoulder pads," and I was like, "Oh, okay." But really, it was all the milk I was drinking, dude. Like all the pasteurized milk, the ice cream, the
Yeah.
cheese, just all that stuff. As soon as I cut all that out, all the acne just poof. It's like a magic trick, just disappeared.
Yeah, and that was before you even started on distilled water and stuff, right?
Way before.
Yeah.
This was way before, man. This was probably, I mean, well into high school. Like I was still drinking, I wasn't drinking tap water. I was actually awake to fluoride when I was in high school,
Oh wow, cool.
but not to like hardly anything
How
else.
did you get awake so early? Did you have parents or someone tell you?
Bro, okay, this is so much fun to talk about. I have always been into conspiracies. So even in middle school, I remember researching like JFK, and I've always just been a curious mind. So I never really latched on to, I never consciously like agreed with the masses or like the commonly told story or the narrative that we're all told. Like I never consciously just like accepted that. I've always questioned things. I've been the black sheep in my family
Cool.
my whole life.
Me
So
too, brother. I can relate.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's why we connect so well, man. I think we just vibe with each other because we can sense that we are like very, very similar.
Yeah.
Um, but I've always questioned things. I've always questioned my reality. So whenever I was in high school, like I remember reading about fluoride, and first thing I did actually was replace my toothpaste because I noticed toothpaste had a bunch of fluoride in it. So I went and found me some natural toothpaste. It was made with like coconut oil and some other things, some essential oils, and that's what I switched it out with. And yeah, I now I don't even brush my teeth with I brush my teeth with distilled water or Urine. So I don't even use, a lot of people still brush with tap water but without fluoride toothpaste, and I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, just the audience, what's Orin? I know that.
Oh yes, Urine, Shivambu, PP.
PP. Wee
Yeah.
wee, the waste product. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a toxic waste product. No, it's actually the elixir of life. It's your fountain of youth. Powerful stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you flipped out to, because I did this in 2000, 3 years ago, I changed before I even got into health properly. I did the fluoride because of the conspiracy. I did the fluoride free toothpaste. I noticed my dreams kept coming back to me. That I didn't know. I didn't know
Yeah,
that my dreams were being suppressed by fluoride. Did you notice anything straight away from that fluoride free transition on the tooth?
absolutely, bro. I have similar experiences. Like when I switched to the fluoride free, all of a sudden my dreams, like not only were they vivid, but I could remember them a little bit more. You know, like whenever you first wake up, you can remember pretty much the entire dream, and then within minutes it like fades. Your memory of it just is gone.
Yeah.
I found myself having maybe like a few more seconds of memory, which is huge. Because dreams, they just seem to vanish. There's like a little bit of a window where you can remember them, and that window just got a little bit bigger whenever I dropped the fluoride. So
Yeah.
and it's funny too because I don't practice lucid dreaming, but like I'm more aware that I am dreaming when I'm asleep. I don't know too much about consciously controlling my dream, but it's funny because I've been asleep many times, and I'm aware that I'm in a dream.
Cool.
And it's a very goofy feeling.
Sure. You practice lucid dreaming regularly. I'm new to that. I did it last year by accident. We're not practicing in it, and I think it's just because I'm becoming healthier. But I'd love to. That's one of the masteries that's so fucking sick, isn't it? Like lucid dreaming. It's awesome.
Yeah, like I've read really funny stories about people just like going anywhere they wanted to, and I'm not very skilled at all that yet, but I do have funny dreams all the time, and sometimes I wake up laughing. Just
Cool.
it's bizarre. Like dreams are very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, totally, brother. Totally. So in high school, you did the fluoride and you did that experiment. That was before you got into health properly, 2011.
Yeah,
2011, you changed into, you stopped your meats. And then that's 8 years ago. It's quite a while back. And how did you come into when did you come into the recent Andrew Norton? I think I remember you starting urine when I was around on Facebook last year or something. You're quite new
yeah.
to Mm.
So in the timeline, it's been a little over a year since I started. So yeah, because I had disappeared from Facebook for about like 7 or 8 months now before, like I just came back like 3 days ago or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been I've been doing the urine therapy for over a year.
Cool, brother. That's awesome. I got so many people message
Yeah.
me directly and say, "Where's Seth gone?" Because they seem to think I was you. We like we were close. They knew. It's like, oh, I don't know. He's just gone. We can't get in contact with you. I didn't know how to because I only had you on Facebook. It's like, ah.
It makes me so sad, like, because I didn't, I honestly just disappeared. Like, I didn't say farewell to anybody, and um, I was like, I was going through some stuff, sorting through some mental junk because I was spending hours and hours and hours on Facebook, and not that that's a bad thing. I thought that I was helping people,
Mm,
and but I had to sort out my I was working a job that was an hour away at the time, and
mm,
so I was 2 hours on the road there and back, and I would be working there for like 12-hour shifts sometimes. And then, with all the time I was on Facebook, it's like I
mm.
was I was doing other healthy protocols, but that was kind of those two things together were kind of killing me in a way. So
Yeah.
I felt overworked and exhausted. And
Well,
yeah, dude, one day I just I didn't deactivate it. I deleted it. I
deleted it.
deleted
Oh,
the account. Yeah. So this account that I'm on now is just totally new. I had to start over.
yeah.
I don't regret it, but I do. One thing I do wish I would have done was say farewell to people because yeah, a lot of people probably wondered where the heck I went, man.
Definitely, I got messages and I wondered, and I know that you very much do what I do on Facebook. You just support people, encourage, and you're learning, you're teaching, you're creating your own shit as well as supporting other people. And so yeah, you were keenly missed, and yeah, people were like, oh damn, where's he gone? It's like I don't know,
Well,
and
I'm here now. I'm
yeah,
here now,
that's how
and
you massive.
I won't do that again.
Indeed, as well. Actually, you touched base something really powerful there that I'd like to talk a little bit about. It's like the idea of being overwhelmed. When people get overwhelmed, they don't do what you're doing. Some people and do it wrongly, in my opinion. They just let the overwhelming feeling take over, and they get depressed, and they blame the medium of Facebook. And what you've done is taken a break from it. And you knew probably at the time it's not Facebook's fault. It's just I'm not maybe. I've got a lot going on in my life. I want to recharge, take a break. And I think that's a really powerful message, actually, to take breaks from things when things overwhelm you. Don't shoot the messenger like the Facebook. Don't blame it because it can be used properly, right?
Hmm. Bro, that's exactly it. And I had actually deleted all social media. So except okay, I have a YouTube channel, but like it's just a blank channel. Like I don't have anything on it yet. So it's just I'm signed in on it, and I just watch my favorite videos. I'm subscribed to you. I like watching and learning from you.
Yeah.
And so it's just I deleted everything. I had Snapchat, I had Facebook, I had Instagram. All of it is gone. I just Another thing too was I had to confront something deep within myself. I wasn't using all of these platforms for total like good intentions. Like
Right. Yeah.
Snapchat, dude, Snapchat really triggers like the lust in me. So
Yeah, but isn't it like yeah, it would do because it's for a lot of young girl photos, and I'm a guy and raging guy too, so surely there's a lot of that going on, and it's cool, like the
well,
young pretty girls and stuff.
it's funny because the app itself was created for sending nudes, right? So like
Right.
you would send nude photo, and then the whole gimmick was it self deletes. So
Mm.
it deletes within so the person views it, and then it's gone after they view it. Like they can't save it and all this. So it was made for these exchanges of
Yeah.
nude photography, right? And then now it's morphed into more of a like you can still do all that, but now it's like it has news feed, it has like it's morphed into another social media really. And
Mm.
yeah, it just wasn't good for me because if you're putting temptation within hand's reach,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like why put brownies in front of you if you know you like chocolate, and you're health conscious? Why do that to yourself?
Yeah, you knew that you to exert the willpower. Yeah, I'm disciplined, but if you put something like that in front of me too, guess what? I'm a guy, so I'm gonna
Yes,
feel that too.
that's something I had to reconcile with myself because the ego likes to get really, really puffed up, and we can convince ourselves that we're like um, maybe a little bit further down the road than we are.
Mm.
And I definitely did that.
Mm,
You know, leading up to my disappearance from Facebook, I got fed up with it because
mm.
um, I've been into this is a great segue into this topic. So I've been into NoFap for like 4 years,
4 years.
and
Cool,
yeah,
bro.
and
Yes.
then from NoFap I learned about semen retention. So that's been 2 years.
Cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so I've been semen retention 2 years too, but not for no fat. I did them at the same time, so you've been longer than me. That's cool. Good. It's
Well, and NoFap, it's funny because when I was learning about NoFap, it wasn't as huge on YouTube as it is now, of course. And a lot of guys were talking about superpowers from NoFap, but that's a joke because the superpowers, which is really just how powerful you should be always, like that should just be your natural state.
good point.
Those those superpowers come from retaining your life force, not from not jerking off to porn, which is what NoFap is.
Yeah.
NoFap really really to break it all down, NoFap is like you can still ejaculate,
Mm,
but just not to porn. That's like the whole gimmick.
yeah. Mhm.
And
Mm,
so all those guys are still ejaculating constantly, whether it be like they call it conscious masturbation. So they'll just like it's still pretty sad. It's like you're just sitting there without anyone there to look at, and you're just pleasuring yourself, still ejaculating, still spewing your life force,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're
I mean,
killing.
it's really bad, but there's one little thing that's okay with that is at least you're using your brain a little bit,
Yes,
as opposed to like a visual thing, but it's still bad.
yeah. There's levels to all of this stuff. So yeah, like um, watching pornography and ejaculating is like lowest of the low, like super
Mm,
low vibration.
yeah.
Um, Ejaculating while pleasuring yourself without looking at pornography is definitely a step above that. Like definitely an improvement for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I like what you're saying there because it's all about improvement. So if we're talking to guys that don't even know about semen retention, sometimes it's best not to start them off with that shit and say, okay, you can still masturbate, but hey, let's stop watching the porn and let's do it to something else. Because I know from my own journey, I'm sure the same. I do rush into things, but I do fuck up. So what I'll do is I'll take 2 steps
yeah,
forward, 1 step back, and that 1 step back, I've learned to be okay with. But I'm always making that 1 step back, and people think I'm perfect, but I talk about it all the time. I make mistakes. I
yeah,
just I'm always moving forward more, but it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to like, oh shit, I'm going to masturbate. I've got, all this stuff. Like, it's not the end of the world.
yeah. Bro, I feel you on that. I've rushed headfirst into something because the idea of it sounded so spectacular and fantastic and
Mm,
inspiring,
mm,
and then I found out that I wasn't fully ready for what I was jumping into, and then I would have that 1 step back, like you just said,
yeah.
and you become okay with that because you realize you're still growing, and I tend to grow in spirals, so like
Mm,
and I think that's human, you know.
mm,
But you come across a topic, a topic that inspires you. You start working towards it, and then you make a mistake, but you keep coming back to it. You keep coming back to it. You keep
yeah.
growing. You keep making mistakes, but like eventually you
Yes.
master it. You have self mastery in that topic.
Yeah.
So
You've explained it so well. And I think that's where real mastery that we talk about and we become proficient at is because the people that are perfect with something straight away won't understand the exact mechanisms because they're not fucking up with it and then realizing the power of it by being on and off it constantly. So it's that
yeah,
fuck up process that actually takes you very deep into, not that I care particularly. If someone just does no fap straight off the bat and does 4 years about it, well done you. But you will miss, you will miss a lot of lessons in how powerful it is if you're just going straight off head to toe and being perfect, in my opinion.
absolutely, bro.
Mm, totally right. Okay, so semen retention is powerful. Why
Yes,
why is preserving the life force? Because we've been conditioned to think as guys that in sex, are you saying that gentle ejaculation in men is a bad thing in a partnership, in a soul relationship?
I think again, there's levels to this, but
Mm,
I am convinced that ejaculation is harmful unless you are creating another life. So, and that's like the ideal. That's like the, um, that's like if you're striving for perfection. Okay. So, I don't. I consciously just will not ejaculate now. So
Mm.
I think that a man should not be ejaculating unless he's creating a life. Um, Now, there's all sorts of weird dimensions to semen retention because a lot of guys teach different stuff. So like if you go onto the subreddit of semen retention, a lot of guys are talking about edging. If you go on YouTube, a lot of guys are talking about edging.
Mm.
And edging is where you're masturbating, but you get yourself so close to ejaculation, the edge,
Mm.
and then you back off, and then you're supposed to like do the microcosm orbit to like send it back up, send it back up. But I think this practice
Mm.
actually keeps your mind from
Mm.
reprogramming. Whenever you've watched pornography, whenever you've masturbated to pornography,
Yeah.
you've carved all these harmful neural pathways in your subconscious mind. And then whenever you're edging, it's difficult to not recall all of those images that are burned into your mind.
Yeah.
So
Huh?
you're edging and you're basically reinforcing those negative pathways that you've seared into your brain.
Yeah.
And then you're taking yourself to the edge, and who's to say that you won't slip and ejaculate? And then by this time, you've edged so long and so hard that it's actually a bigger ejaculation than you wanted.
Yeah.
So
More life force gone. Mm-hmm.
yeah, more life force lost. And you feel it, man. Like I don't know, it's different for everybody, but if I ejaculate, I feel really, really sluggish for like 3 to 7 days. Like that's usually the time frame. So
Yeah.
I definitely feel it, bro.
Yeah, that's very true what you said there. Yeah, the sluggishness after sex. That's why the stereotype is on the movies. They're so true. They're exaggerating, but actually, a guy does want to fall asleep. Kind of, especially
Yeah,
most of the people out there, they do want to fall asleep straight after sex because they've not done the protocols to raise their testosterone sperm production, and then all of a sudden they're busting a nut, thinking that Hollywood is the way. Because do you know what frustrates me the most, bro, and it probably frustrate you too. I love films, yeah, and I should see the films in the background, and I always will. But every single scene I see, there's no other way taught apart from a man's gentle ejaculation is the climax of a sex session between a man and a woman. That really frustrates me.
yeah.
That's not meant to be like that.
And I'm a movie guy too, man. I love movies. I love just chilling out and watching movies, and also paying attention to things like that. Just noticing the programming and the propaganda that they throw at you. There's also mad clues in movies, bro. Like,
Yeah.
but like what you were saying with the sex aspect, there will be a couple having sex in a Hollywood film, and then like when the guy, when they're hinting that the guy ejaculated, they'll show like a fireworks montage, right? Oh, it's fireworks, and it's like, no, this is, the French call it la petite mort, the little death.
Yeah, it's funny that. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Death.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, man, the movies. Oh, and another fun thing about movies is they always show people drinking coffee and alcohol.
Yeah.
Two major toxins in every movie. It's like people are just always drinking coffee, always drinking alcohol. That can't be subliminal at all, right?
No, that's very true, and it's all so normal and so average and so bullshit. And even cigarettes were cool back in the movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, cigarettes are everywhere in movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, all I want is just one movie where there's into that climax fireworks montage. Save that for a man's, like, you can see the man just pounding away, but he's like, okay, I'm going to send it up, send it up, send it up. And you can see him send it up, hits the high chakras. Then you can do the fireworks montage when it hits this.
That would be really cool, actually.
We should make, I don't even want it to be like a sex documentary learning. I just want a movie that has that in it. Like, and a really cool movie too, and maybe we're dreaming.
Yeah, that fireworks montage would really work with that, but not how they normally put it in the movies.
Definitely, bro. I find everything you're saying really interesting. I'm learning too, actually, because I'm getting my beliefs challenged and all that stuff, and it's good because I'm not very sure where I stand on the edging stuff. I'm messing about with a lot of things at the moment, which I will talk more about when I'm more proficient with what I know. So I'm definitely open to what you're saying. One thing I do think with testosterone is, why I don't think it's wrong to be like completely celibate and to think to be against women and our natural attraction is because we make testosterone when we are aroused sexually.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a
Yeah.
reason why I kind of believe that I think testosterone is such a powerful hormone to motivate men, success, happiness, and health. I'm just wondering why, like the brahmacharya that would happily walk, that's cool to walk away from him, but to deny your arousal, I think I have a limit in my mind, my young Western 32-year-old mind at the moment. I'm thinking, well, you shouldn't be hiding away and ashamed of your arousal for women, because that's making you healthier. I look at it.
Yeah,
Don't know.
I'm there's parts of brahmacharya that resonate with me, but I agree with you on that 100%. I don't think like the idea, I think they call it being an ascetic, like just denying all of your bad impulses. No, you're human. You're both light and darkness. Like it's all within you. So you have the ego and the soul. You're an integrated unit of consciousness, basically. So you have to deal with both. To deny it is to really make it worse. Like if you deny that you have lust within you, it comes out twofold, tenfold, 30-fold, whatever. Maybe not right now, but later down the road. Like there's countless stories of preachers and priests and religious figures like doing terrible sexual crimes because they denied that aspect of themselves and then just let loose, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're very, very spot on there about like denying that part of yourself is not ideal.
Yeah, agreed. And more to the duality, darkness and light, I think that's how we got molded ourselves, because everyone goes through suffering a little bit in darkness, but I think it's fair to say people like myself, you, and people watching, just as light workers, we've gone through a lot of dark and a lot of dark, and that dark duality has actually molded us more, given us more intentions and desire to seek the light more. And yeah, I love duality and the darkness and the light, and the dark is so important too. I love it.
Yeah, man. There's so much to it, man. It's like you have to appreciate what we've been doing, what we've been growing for. You have to come from a dark place. Like it's like, I mean, that's what duality is. You don't appreciate good without going through some bad. So otherwise there's no way to define what either is. You have to have both.
Yeah, I'm thinking, have you seen the movie Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Bane says in that to Batman when he's trapped with fighting, he goes, "Victory weakens you." To Batman, he's right, because victory and like constantly winning in life and having it easy and having your dad and mum buy you a nice car and shit and not having to work hard makes you weak, man. We got to go through that suffering, like I said.
100%, bro.
Yeah. Okay, let's transition, because I really want to talk to you about distilled water, urine therapy, and what your current experiments are. So can you tell us a little bit about what year you started with distilled water first, and how you come to it? Because it's a pretty weird thing, actually, when we think about it, this distilled water.
I hopped into distilled water at the exact same time I hopped into urine therapy. So it's been just a little bit over a year. I am terrible with dates and months and all that, but it's been a little over a year. I couldn't tell you what month or what day, but yeah, I've been on distilled waters and urine therapy for the same time.
Cool. And that was started with, did you watch because I started, one of them was Lisa Harrison, Andrew Norton. Oh, you did?
Epic interview.
Yeah.
Epic.
Everyone should see that. Type in Lisa Harrison if you haven't seen that Andrew Norton Webber video. It's really powerful.
Yes, that's probably my favorite Andrew Norton Webber interview. There's also one that he did with Dave Murphy that is like the last 20 minutes of it is top notch, because he goes deep into like alchemical processes and like he hints at some of that stuff in other interviews, but he just he dials in on it in that Dave Murphy video.
I know what you're talking about. Taking a Piss, I think it's called. Literally.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And actually, when you did that last year, I'm pretty sure I remember you. I was around on Facebook, and you were my friend at that point, so we're pretty sure that I must have helped you. But I remember you talking about it and getting into it at that time. You reminded me when you said you got it last year. I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure Seth did that at the same time that I was around. I remember him posting a lot about distilled water and urine therapy he was doing.
Bro, you were a key in my, like, I remember messaging you because I had known about urine therapy, and I actually added you because a lot of my friends were saying, oh, you got to add Harry. He really knows urine therapy. And I was like, cool. And I was really like engaged with that topic, but was not trying it yet. And I had actually collected a bunch, like I had it sitting here and, but hadn't used it. And actually I had a few friends message me and try to tell me like, oh, if you don't want to sip it yet, you know, just try rubbing it on your hands and see how it moisturizes your skin. And like, I had a bunch of people helping me, but you were key in my first urine drinking. So
Cool.
actually, I have right here
Yeah.
this jar actually. Now this is some urine I collected the other day from OMAD cooked foods.
Cool.
But this exact jar is the same jar that I drank out of. I was messaging you on Facebook, and I said something along the lines of, Harry, I have a whole jar of urine right here, and I'm thinking about drinking it. And then you sent me an audio clip, like you I don't know how you did that, but it was like your voice just came through, and you were like, just do it, man, just do it. And then I downed the whole thing. I think I sent like a little video clip through Messenger, and I just downed it.
Yeah, you did, brother. I remember going through that. Like, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and that was my first urine, bro. And it was all because you encouraged me and you like helped guide me through, and really just said, do it, man, just do it.
Oh yeah, man, that's my style.
Yeah.
I don't mess about people. And to be honest with you, I wish more people in the world were like you. However, I wish and I don't, because I accept people as they are. But yeah, I'm so pleased that when people like you say, hey, because I'm always going to encourage you, fucking video, audio message, and yeah, that stuff, because it's more real, isn't it? Like this conversation between us is more real than, even though we're real people, than say like typing where you can hide behind someone and say, be a troll and stuff. So I'd rather do those audios and get that connection with you, because I really care about people. I care about anyone. Regardless of soul family or not, that wants to do urine therapy. So I'll always support the brothers and sisters. So
yeah,
cool.
100%, bro.
So can I ask, when you took it, I can't remember whether you. I'm pretty sure you were excited. You said the results. Did you get any detox from that at the time?
Oh yeah, man. I like within like 15 minutes, I had to run to the bathroom, dude. Okay, this is a good little segue. At that point, I was still eating. I used to follow the John McDougall protocol. So I would eat like tons of potatoes, tons of rice, tons of beans. So I was eating like that, usually one meal a day, but not strictly. And so that particular day, I remember I had this contraption called an Instant Pot, and it's like a big pressure cooker. So I would just make like my big potato stews or soups in that. And then I remember drinking that that's a 32-ounce jar of urine that I just downed. And dude, I was in the bathroom for like 25 minutes just purging. It was intense. And it was like really, it was kind of, I've never felt like this before. It was kind of annoying because every time I kept standing up to leave the bathroom, I had to sit down again.
I've been there,
yeah. And part of that is the physics of like sitting on the toilet. It's not really ideal for the digestion and the intestines, and like the angle is wrong. So every time I stood up, I had to poop again. So
I remember that. I know that frustrating feeling. You're like, okay, this is cool. I know it's healthy, but I've been done now. Oh no, you're not done. Another one like 20 times over. It's like, what the fuck? When is it gonna be done?
Yeah, bro. It's really funny when you look back on it.
What a memory. And you, I'm pretty sure at the time you knew what was going on. You knew it was a healthy thing, and not like the masses would say, oh, it's not working.
No, yeah, I was completely open to what was happening because I had seen so many of Andrew Norton Weber's videos. I had seen Dave Murphy's videos on how he did a urine fast for 30 days. I get fascinated with a topic, and then I just like read as much as I can about it. I read a whole bunch of urine therapy books. I read Water of Life. I read there was one, I can't remember the book title for some reason, but Vander Kroon.
Golden Fountain.
Yes. And then I've read Your Own Perfect Medicine. And then I listened to the Gary Ward tapes. Another great YouTuber that I really, really love watching is Wiley Schmidt.
Love that guy. Yeah.
I love him, dude. He is so cool. And I love all his urine videos are cool because like he'll walk you through like his routine, I guess, like with the syringe and all. I just like how he does that.
quick story on him. He's the first. All right, get this. So I got into urine therapy. I read Martha Christie's book. I was like, I've got to try it. Tried it. Got mega excited because I could make this medicine, remove my depression, feel amazing 24/7. Now what I did was went on Facebook, typed in urine therapy because I'm just like you. I get really excited about stuff. So I was like, type in urine therapy. Oh, there's a group. First group I added was Wiley's group. First person I spoke to, Wiley. First friend I ever made on Facebook when I was into urine therapy that I really owe a lot to, Wiley Schmidt.
That is powerful, man.
Yeah.
I've never spoken with him, but I really like him a lot.
Oh, you should definitely add him, brother. You should definitely add him.
I sent him a request yesterday, but I'm not sure if he's seen it yet or not. But yeah,
I'll tell him about you and stuff. But one thing that I thought was kind of cool to talk about too, when I know you know that excitement phase. I'm just thinking about it now. That also is going to procure health benefits. Because think about this: when you get excited, I'm like you. When I get excited about a topic, I go hell for leather. What do you think that's doing for your health? Like if you spend all your day like getting excited, what kind of hormones are going on in our bodies? A GABA's firing, or fucking dopamine's firing. Healthy though, serotonin's firing. That in itself is super healthy to go through your days of your life, months on end, thinking, oh, cool, look, I'm open-minded. I'm going to research this topic, the fuck out of it. And you're just doing it because you love it so much. You're getting so many benefits. It's like amazing. Can't believe people don't do it.
I know. And I've always followed, you know, that cliche, follow your heart. Well, I take that to be, you know, follow your intuition. And I feel like my intuition guides me so strongly down urine therapy, semen retention. Those are two huge topics for me personally. Yeah. And that's my soul guiding me, I believe. And you know, your soul will never guide you down the wrong path. So and what you were talking about too with like being excitement, creating hormones in your body, looping that is powerful too. So not only you're excited going into a topic, but if you're looping while you're researching and you're excited and you're just passionate about life, dude, ultra powerful.
Yeah, you loop all the urine with the hormones that are going crazy inside your brain. You're taking it, they're coming out in your pee, and you're just retaking that again.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then once 6 p.m. hits, that's when I stop looping, and then I collect it for aging.
Very cool. Because I'll tell you another story. I didn't do that. When I did the looping, I just carried on drinking all through the night, and then I wondered why I got kidney pains. So I did the wrong thing. It's okay.
Bro, I got a funny story about that. I didn't do this from the beginning either. I was drinking all through the night, like, because that's one thing that I didn't. It's like all the books tell you to stop drinking, but it didn't click. You know. Stop drinking before bed because you're gonna have to get up every 15 minutes to pee again and again and again.
Yep.
And I actually had a wet dream because I had all that liquid like putting pressure on my prostate. So I didn't pee myself. I ejaculated in my dream because I didn't stop looping. Like, yeah, that was insane.
That makes sense. Have you heard, someone told me about a theory recently, you might already know, that one of the reasons why we get erections, because men and women both get erections at nighttime whilst we're sleeping, in the REM sleep, I think, the REM stays. One of the reasons we might reckon is because of that, to stop us going to pee at night. And that kind of resonates with what you said, because like you had so much pee that the erection came about because you had so much pee. And then, of course, you went too far with too much pee and needed to pee. And then that kind of exploded out your semen.
Yes. And I saw your video on that. And yeah, I agree, man. It makes sense. It makes sense.
It's crazy. Huh?
Another thing too, this isn't totally related to urine therapy really, but on the topic of wet dreams, a lot of guys are like, how do I stop wet dreams? How do I stop wet dreams?
Yeah, I like that too, actually. Please tell me. I'd like to know. I get this.
I'm not an expert, but I'll say this. I've only had 3 wet dreams in the last 2 years. Cool. And 2 of them occurred during full moons. So I think the moon has a lot to do with the energy, the sexual energy. I'm not blaming the moon. I'm not saying the moon like harvested my semen or anything like that. Right. But I am saying maybe the moon can influence your energy. And then, I don't know, there's a lot of factors with that. But here's what I'll say. A lot of guys still have a lot of deep programmed lust issues. So their wet dreams could be coming from that. The second thing is they're eating a late dinner. This is something that I have stopped doing. That is crucial. I only eat 1 meal a day if I am eating at all. And it's usually around like what people would call lunchtime. It's never early in the morning, and it's never at night. It's always like either at noon or at the latest at 2 p.m.
Cool.
So if you're eating right before bed,
Yeah.
you're more likely to have a wet dream. It's just facts.
Yeah.
So and then another thing is, this is kind of weird. This sounds weird to sheeple, but sleep naked, because if you sleep with tight clothing on, you're more likely to have a wet dream, because your genitals are being like stimulated against this, like, this fabric, and it's constricting. So it's like right up on it. Like a lot of guys wear briefs and I don't know all the technical names for them, but like tight underwear, right?
Yeah.
And it's just all that pressure, and especially if you're getting hard-ons in the middle of the night, you're more likely to have a wet dream. So I think a lot of guys just have to be more strategic in when they eat, when they stop drinking water, and what they're wearing to bed, and then also just deprogram from the lust. Just cut out the pornography. That's a whole process. It's not something you can just do in one day. A lot of guys are trying to do everything in one day.
Yeah.
But you have to root out the lust, which doesn't mean rooting out sexuality.
No.
But yeah, that's a whole deep topic right there too.
I love the summation, and I agree with that point. I think my weakness, although I'm always working on it, and I forgive myself 2 years in, and I will become a master. I feel like we both will actually become really a master of sexual transmutation, setting the seed up, and all that stuff. But yeah, number 2, I don't do. I'm 1 meal a day like you, and number 3, I sleep naked. So it's only number 1 that's causing me problems. And actually, with me, when I said 2 steps forward, 1 step back, what will happen is I'll have a wet dream after 30, 40, 50, 60 days, and then I just lose momentum, and I think, fuck it. The wet dream, and actually I've come to realize now, a wet dream isn't, in my opinion, as bad as, well, it's obvious, it's not as bad as even mentally masturbating, like even just because I think what's happened is the wet dream is kind of like a profound state of deep desire. It might be lust, so deep desire, but that actually sends some of the stuff back. So I don't think guys realize this. It's actually sending some of the medicine into the body before it gets ejaculated out in a wet dream. Whereas if you do it manually, you probably won't send much of it back in, which sounds crazy, but I just feel like I don't, when I do a wet dream, I don't lose much energy compared to if I manually. Don't know.
Yes, you're exactly right about that. One thing that I wanted to, I guess, distinguish is you can have a nocturnal emission without having a corresponding dream that's like desirous or lustful. You can have, and then on the flip side, you can have a nocturnal emission that has a almost a demonic succubus entity in your dream. I've had that once, and it was terrifying.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to tell us more about that? I'm interested. Tell me more about that one.
So I was on distilled water. I was on urine therapy when this happened. So the dream was vivid. Like I can remember it like that. So I'm asleep, and this woman, she had like, I don't want to say red skin, but like, it was like, maybe, because I'm terrible with shades of colors, it was like a very beautiful shade of red. Not that helps.
Like the Matrix, that woman in the Matrix in the glitch when he's looking at that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's such a funny clip right there.
Yeah.
He's like, were you paying attention to me, or were you looking at the lady in the red dress? Were you distracted by her? No, this succubus had like beautiful glowing like red skin. It was kind of pinkish, but it was definitely had a red tint to it. And she was actually raping me in the sense that like I didn't want her, and she was on top of me. Like I was on my back, she was on top of me, and she was speaking to me. She was laughing at me. She was saying things to the effect of like, you don't win this time. And it scared the shit out of me, bro. I woke up conscious of it's like so weird to phrase this. Like, so I was aware in my dream that I was being raped by a succubus. So I woke up to prevent myself from ejaculating, but I woke up literally 1 second too late. Like I woke up and I had just ejaculated. And that wet dream, I felt super drained. So it was literally like some entity spirit like drained me.
Yeah,
because
and
I don't know, like I don't know too much about all of that, but it makes sense that the higher you would climb on this path of self-mastery, that like things, spiritual forces would come after you in a sense, like to knock you off the path, you know, like the story of Jesus, whenever he had fasted for 40 days, probably on urine.
Definitely.
He's in the desert, and what happens, you know, the devil comes up to him and tempts him and says, you know, if you're really the son of God, throw yourself off this mountain, blah, blah, blah. It's like whenever you're climbing, something's always going to try and knock you off. So that's how I view that dream. But one thing I was going to say too is like we shouldn't fear experiences like that. So there's no I don't want to come off as like, oh, Seth believes in like superstitious stuff. No. There's nothing to fear. It's just, I think if the lust is there, those spiritual forces can play with that. They can play with you. They can toy with you. So it's just another obstacle on the path of self-mastery. It's just something that we got to deal with. So
absolutely, it's like having a weakness. We've all got weaknesses, and what you're doing is if you're not getting rid of the weakness, they're gonna get in there.
Oh yeah, they get in there and they prod that. It's like the Achilles heel, man. It's like they're gonna do it.
Yeah, and we know there's dark forces. I mean, that we know for fuck that we are probably created, and there is good and bad forces, if you want to call it a really basic way of saying it. I don't really care, to be honest, what is out there, like what shapes and what sizes of different dimensional beings, but I definitely know there's negative entities in this physical and also in other physical that are watching us and trying to stop us. But actually, it's pointless, because everything they do to try and stop us with this wave and shift I believe we're on, it's really pointless. I don't even know why they're bothering, but hey.
Yeah. No, it's really quite amusing whenever you, like, the way that you just explained that was really powerful. It's cool when you take like the big picture view, like you just explained, and you laugh at these entities, because really, like, we are like source energy incarnate in human flesh. Like we are, you know, Jesus said ye are gods in the New Testament. And it's funny because like we just need to learn to laugh at everything, because we are the creators, so we don't have to fear them. We can overcome all of that stuff.
Exactly.
Easily.
And actually, one of the things they hate, psychopaths, they hate it is when you laugh at them. I mean, they really hate it. So it's really funny if you find humor in what they're doing.
Oh, and they can't stand being ignored too, because they want to harvest your energy.
Yeah.
So don't respond to them. They hate that.
Absolutely, bro. I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, that's deep. Yeah, don't ignore them. They thrive on negative as well as positive attention. So no attention is like death. So,
yeah, it is. It's worse than death for them, bro.
Yeah.
They crave. It's like any energy that you can give them, whether you give them positive or negative, like you said, it's like fuel to them. They thrive on it. Yeah. Truly energy vampires, bro. They exist.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for saying that. Do you want to talk? You don't have to, but do you know? Do you want to talk a little about psychopathy? Have you had personal? You sound like you've had some kind of personal encounters with these beings. I don't know. Have you had personal encounters with them?
I've had at least one encounter, possibly two, with what I would consider a psychopath. Yeah, maybe a narcissist would be a good word to describe these people. But these people will never admit when they're wrong. Even when you're coming from a genuine place and you're trying to express something that they did that hurt you, they will not accept responsibility ever. And so it's best to just cut these people off. You don't owe them anything.
Yeah. And if you don't cut them off, you're going to suffer.
Yeah. And I have, bro. I have. So one experience, this is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna throw names out, because these people were in the community. I'll say that.
In our community, in our Facebook community.
Yeah, like,
oh, cool.
Like loosely. I don't know if you would know. You probably know one of them, but not the other.
Okay. I'm pretty observant person, so don't but I do like to, one of my jams is people think I'm socially not that smart because I love people's posts and encourage people. They think I'm simple, which is okay, but actually I'm really aware of the social stuff going on and all that stuff. I love it. Yeah. I'm watching it. Like you.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'm the same way. I like to be engaged with all of it, and people can view me as simple, but that's not true. Yeah, I like to be fully engaged. So, but yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. And it's only funny in retrospect. It was really scary while it was happening.
Cool.
So, um, I I took I took LSD with someone who I thought was my friend, and they were loosely in the community.
Mm.
And this person I was friends with for 8 months before taking this acid with him, right?
Mm.
And as soon as we took the acid, he started manipulating my trip in like really terrible ways. And actually, we were in this building when it happened, and he started like saying sexual things about my dog. At one point, he put her in a chokehold,
Mm.
and said, "Oh, I found her trigger point." And I had no idea what that meant, but it sounded like he knew how to control her.
Yeah.
And she's half German Shepherd, so I was really freaked out, bro.
And you were on acid too at the time.
Yeah, and yeah, I was way out of it. But I was trying to remain, because I've always been very, very present. So I was trying to talk to myself in a beneficial way, like, all right, Seth, you like don't let him, Yeah, I was talking to myself to keep present, and I was like, don't let him manipulate you. Don't let him do anything to Mika. Don't let. So I just kept talking to myself. It was weird being in that psychedelic loop, because time, I mean, we know time's an illusion, but time is very different on psychedelics. Another thing he kept doing, though, this guy that I thought was my friend, was he would say something about being a government agent. And this guy was ex-military. He would say something about being a government agent, and then when I would question him about what he just said, he would act like he didn't just say that. Total psychopath.
Yeah.
He would mess with me and be like, I didn't say anything about that. And then he would laugh at me and mock me.
You heard of gaslighting, right?
Yes.
Gaslighting.
Yes.
And
he was
doing
doing
question your reality of who you are and sanity, because he knew you were on acid. He knew that you, as a sober person, you wouldn't get fooled, but in acid, he thought you'd have a chance.
Yes, dude, he tried to fuck me up, man. And then I ended up, so he was here for like 3 hours during my trip and 2 hours prior. And I ended up confronting him in my backyard, like saying like, you need to leave. And he finally left. Bro, it was scary. I thought I had walked into a serial killer plot, like, for real.
I think that's not a narcissist. I think that's a genuine born. That's controversial. I think he was born a psychopath. He was born like that, and he can't change, and no one can fix him. Like the government's a bit, oh, you can fix a guy like that. No. He's born soulless. That's the definition of soulless. The guy that did it on purpose to you because you're a nice person, and he sensed weakness, and he thought, okay, I'm going to make him question his reality, and therefore he's going to, I don't know. They just love it, bro. They fucking love that shit.
I think you're onto something with that. And okay, here's something crazy too. I didn't listen to my gut feeling, because we had met up I was still eating like pretty garbage, like vegan cooked food. There's this. Do you guys have Chipotle where you're at?
I've heard of Chipotle. I don't even know what it is, mate. I actually don't know.
Okay.
I just heard the words.
They do these massive burritos, and it's just like, it's Mexican food, but like fast food.
Like tacos, I know.
They do tacos and burritos, and then like salad bowls. It's like healthy fast food, but it's got like salt and all kinds of added crap to it. But anyways, we met up at a Chipotle by the house, right? And I was getting red flags like the whole time, bro. And then but I kept giving him the benefit of the doubt, and then later he used all of that against me. Like he recognized all of that. And whenever I was on that acid, he was like, yeah, I could tell that you didn't like my vibes at Chipotle. And he's like, I bet you regret all of this now.
Yeah. So in other words, what you're saying is he was really like you, socially smart, socially on it. He was watching and figuring out all of your weaknesses of personality, all the things you were keeping quiet about. He probably knew you were ignoring red flags at the time, and he just brought it all out to like trigger you and to really go in there. He wanted to destroy your soul, bro. He wanted to suck at that point. He wanted to suck your soul out. He wanted to make you think that you weren't you. Like, I'm confused now. He has you.
Yeah, bro. And then things took like I'm not against like homosexuality at all, but things took a kind of very homosexual turn
Yeah.
because he kept trying to get me alone. And he kept wanting to like lay down and watch a movie. And bro, like you can see my bed, like it's a twin size. It's for me. It's for one person. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna.
This is fascinating. So wait, he wanted to sleep with your dog too. Did you say it was fuck your dog? He wanted to try and make moves on you. Did you suspect he was homosexual? I know we're talking about this a lot. Did you suspect he was homosexual before you met? Or was it only just it was a surprise?
It was surprise, but once I realized it, it all clicked because then I went through. This guy has since deleted his Facebook account, like almost immediately after this happened. This happened over a year ago now. But looking through his photos, dude, his eyes look totally dead, and his smiles looked fake as fuck, and just totally lifeless. And but no, I never suspected that he might be gay. And then but in the moment, dude, he was saying all these horrible things about my dog. He kept saying like, oh, I can't wait to spin her around and like do something to her. And I'm like, and then I was like heavily tripping, bro. And I'm like, what? And then he's like, oh, I didn't say anything.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Do you know what I actually, Seth, I'd love it if you read a book by Thomas Sheridan, who in my opinion is the leading expert. He's written an amazing book on genetic born psychopaths called Puzzling People. I know, bro, when you read that book, everything that you've just told me in the story is going to make complete sense.
Yeah.
Because one of them is these people might not like this, but this is not my opinion, this is actual fact. Genetic born psychopaths don't have sexuality. What they do have is they enjoy sex for the power. So therefore they're asexual. Therefore they can sleep with a man, a woman, an old person that's really ugly, a dog. It's not about sex. It's about power. So that's why he became homosexual for you, and he became on the dog, not because he's attracted to you. No offense. He's actually about the power. He wanted the power over you and the dog. That was what it's about.
Wow, that makes sense, man.
I really, really love it if you read that book, man. It's cost like $10 on Amazon. Puzzling People, Thomas Sheridan. It's a game changer. And I don't talk about psychopathy a lot because it is my specialty, but it's something that's not. Do you know what I mean? It's not far enough. People don't know enough about it for me to talk. It might not be my mission too, but people don't know enough. People aren't at the level that I'm at with my personal experiences with these creatures, and even you now, because of what you've experienced, you're at a very high level compared to the masses on the knowledge. So
bro, I thank you for the book recommendation. I fly through books, man. I'm reading books every day. I have an 8-foot long bookshelf going across this wall, and then I have 4 bookcases on that far right wall, and it's I'll definitely pick it up. You said Thomas Sheridan was his name?
I'll send you the link afterwards. Puzzling People. It's called Puzzling People by Thomas Sheridan.
Right on, bro.
Okay, so since you talk about books a little bit, what is your favorite book?
Favorite book? Oh my gosh.
You had to name 2 or 3. I'll give you 2 or 3 because I know it's really hard to put it down to 1 sometimes.
It is difficult because the mind likes to fragment things, or at least mine does. And I have favorite books for different reasons, right? Okay, so without overthinking this too much, my top 3 in no particular order, I would say the King James Bible, not because I'm religious or anything, but because there are mad clues in that book if you know how to look for them. And I can go into that a little bit more in a second after I finish this little list here. Then my second favorite book would probably be the Kybalion by the 3 Initiates. But that book was really written by a guy named William Walker Atkinson, for people who really want to know. The 3 Initiates was just a fun little pen name to make it sound more mysterious. Third favorite book, let's see. There's so many, dude. I would probably say The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy.
Oh, I remember you talking about that a lot last year. You posted up some of that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I actually have it. I have it in physical paperback, but I also have it in audio book, and I love just listening to that repeatedly. Just like,
it's funny the dualistic nature of what you just said there, like subconscious, perhaps subconscious mind, just listening to it repeat.
Yes, and but really, I mean, honestly, I could talk about my favorite books forever because I have so many. And on any other day, that list might change. There's so many books, dude. Another powerful one is it's a textbook about that thick called The Science of Mind by a guy named Ernest Holmes. And
not heard of that. Interesting.
He uses primarily verses from the New Testament to show you how to use your mind. And you'd be surprised when you pull away from the religious programming of Christianity, the Bible has a ton to say about how your mind works. And then he also uses quotes from the Bhagavad Gita and like other religious texts. He uses all of them. His theory is that truth presents itself everywhere, which I fully agree. You will not find like capital T truth in just one text, you know, but from one religion. You're going to find little sprinkles of truth everywhere. No one has the monopoly on the truth. So I like to read all of those texts. I'll even read the Quran. There's a lot of great flat earth stuff in the Quran. Cool. So I love reading all the world scriptures and just I think of it as mining the gems out of the text. So
yeah, you're talking about true wisdom, but not just like people ask, how do you read books? And I think, yeah, you're reading it in a way where you know what you want to get out of a book that's going to help you and not.
Bro, yes, there's like a certain, like, there's a ton of topics always running in my background of my mind. And it's like, I read and I'm extracting like one-liners that resonate with those topics. So it's just kind of like, that's how my mind works.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, it's you learn how to become a good reader by being a person that's on a journey. And even if you don't know yourself, you want to learn more about yourself and what you like and what you don't like. And the books will pop up at the right time. You'll know where to read a book quickly, whether it's not for you. Ones that I've got books that I could read 20, 30 times, 50 times all my life. Actually, I just thought of one now that I'm surprised you mentioned, although you've got so many you love, because I know you talked about it before. The Way of Superior Man by David Data. That's one we should.
Yes, I got that on my shelf too. It's so incredible.
Yeah.
And I've read that one three times, and I could read it again and again.
Same here, bro. It's like for me, that's every man's Bible. It should be compulsory from a boy to read that, and every year of his life till he dies. No,
it's fantastic, bro. And the chapters are like, you know, there's like 50 something chapters in it, if I remember correctly. So it's like 1 to 2 pages. You just fly through it.
Yeah.
You can read it in one day.
Yeah. And the reason why we love it so much is because, actually, I'll tell you a story. When I first had it in 2012, I read it the first time, 2012, I think it was. It didn't make any sense to me, bro. I didn't like it. I was like, this is a shit book. I'm not, and the reason why is because I wasn't anywhere like a real man. No offense, and not that I am now, but I didn't understand the principle. I was so lame that I was like, okay, read it again 2, 3 years ago, and it made so much sense. What happened was the book print had stayed the same, the words hadn't changed, but I had changed. My brain had changed, and I was like, oh, I get it now. That's what I've been doing in my life slowly. That makes sense.
Yeah. Have you read any of his other books?
No. Have you? I want to.
Let me grab one real quick.
Oh, cool. Yeah, please.
All right, so I actually grabbed two more books, but only one of them is David Data. I'll show you the other one in a sec, but this book is very, very good. The Enlightened Sex Manual. I don't know if you can read that. It's kind of
Enlightened Sex, David Data. Yeah.
Kind of dark in this room here, but this book is incredible. There's a few things that I disagree with him on when it comes to semen retention.
He preaches semen retention, doesn't he? If I'm correct, he talks about a little bit in the.
He talks about it a lot in The Way of Superior Man, but he never calls it that, and I'm not so sure that term was really even around whenever he wrote the book, because I think it's like 20-something years old now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does encourage you to like cycle your sexual energy and all this. But it's weird because in this book, in the Enlightened Sex Manual, he has a couple of chapters where like he'll contradict himself a little bit. Like chapter 8 is titled "Good Ejaculations Liberate Energy," and liberate is a little bit too nice of a word, I think, because I think ejaculating scatters your energy or squanders your energy or wastes your energy or whatever, unless you're using it to create a life, because it's literally, I mean, that's your creative DNA. I mean, why would you just ejaculate it? It's
Or liberate it, which is a straight.
yeah. Why would you liberate it? Why not just keep it in you, cycle it and grow? And
Yeah.
you know, like okay, this is kind of a little side note on that, but a lot of people call it seed, you know, retain your seed. Well, I like to think about retaining your semen or your seed as a small little acorn growing into a massive oak tree.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's a beautiful image to me. And if you're just constantly like liberating your seed, well, you're never going to grow into that mighty oak, you know?
Yeah.
So I just thought this book is really great to learn about like sexuality and sexual practices and like intimacy. He's really big on connecting with your partner and things of that nature. He's really, really good with like masculine and feminine energy. Like he touches on that in Superior Man. Yeah. And so all of that is like spot on. But there's a few times in this book in particular where he kind of tells you to ejaculate sometimes, and that's just the one thing that I disagree with.
You know, just a quick point on that. I love the fact that I notice it too, that what we do is in books and in real life and people we meet on YouTube is we remember the little things that we disagree with, not because we're that way minded. It's because it's a good idea to do that, because it reminds us that everyone is human, and we might have been tempted at some point to look at them, put it up on a pedestal, and like, actually that's not how it works. It's good to remind yourself that people we look up to are human too. We're all human here. We're all not, no one's perfect.
100%, bro. And this book right here is powerful. Cupid's Poisoned Arrow.
Got that? Yeah. Like
Have you read this one?
Yeah, it's caressa is the type of sexuality. Yeah.
Yes, caressa. And man, this book is life-changing. I love how she explores multiple like spiritual texts too, and kind of gives you little tips from like Buddhism and esoteric Christianity and Hinduism and things of that nature. Quotes little pieces from the Kama Sutra, and you know, yeah, it's all about slow, intentional caressing, holding, like bonding cues. It's not about like pornography trains your mind to think it's all about like penetration, you know, and then the eruption, the fireworks, right?
Yeah.
But we live in upside down land. Literally everything's backwards. It's all about intimacy and connection, and it's just those two books are powerful, man. Well, actually, those three books, The Way of Superior Man and these two, very powerful.
That last one, I love the idea of like looking into someone's soul and really going slow with an appreciation and gratitude comes from. I feel like appreciation and gratitude for anything in life comes from doing it slow and not rushing the process. Because if you're spending time with a partner, really getting to know them, exploring their bodies, looking into their eyes, looking into their soul, that can't happen with what porn and 5-minute shit does, because that just makes it meaningless. If it's like a symbolic of life to me. Like people want quick, but actually what we found in life as we walk the journey is if you want health, you want happiness, you want wisdom, you want amazing sex, it's slow, and it's not a rush. It's not like if you rush it, you just won't appreciate it. That's how I look at it.
Bro, something really, really profound that I learned about carezza is that well, I already knew one aspect of it. So like humans are batteries for this matrix. Like we are literally like walking batteries. And one thing about the human organism for men, our genitals are positively charged and our nipples are negatively charged. And the woman, her genitals are negatively charged, so it's a match for our positively charged genitals, and then her breasts are positively charged for our negatively charged nipples. And so we're meant to, and they say the eyes are the window of the soul, and so we're meant to face each other and engage, you know, breast to breast, genital to genitals. And what do you see in pornography? The exact opposite of that. Everyone's doing doggy style. You can't, everyone has, like, she has her back turned to him always, like 99% of the time.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I actually learned some new things. I knew that we were oppositely charged. I didn't realize the nipples and us were meant to. That makes sense too. They were oppositely charged here to, you're right. That's why we call it making love, like, and it's supposed to be a beautiful thing, and why it's never a beautiful thing, especially in porn. But even Hollywood movies too don't make it very special, and it's over too quickly. So
bro. And the amount of energy that's exchanged whenever you're truly in like a loving embrace like that, and it's not even necessarily like you don't even have to be penetrating the other person. um, it's just the, like, I'm sure you've seen like drawings or like artful images of the lotus position, where the woman is like sitting in your lap.
Yes.
Like just that alone
Mm.
is generating so much energy. Like if you think about your heart and its electromagnetic field,
Yeah.
it's just like heart to heart, dude. It's so expansive, and you can see in each other's eyes.
Yeah.
And really, I think a lot of people who are like quote unquote sex addicts, they're really just craving intimacy. They're not really craving the penetration, the explosion of the
Yeah.
orgasm and all that.
Right. Yeah.
They're craving for someone to care
Yeah.
about them.
I think you're right. Same with taking drugs and becoming an alcoholic. They're not craving the quick fix. They're craving the intimacy and love that people should have for them, or they should have themselves, which they lack, unfortunately, at that moment in time. So yeah, it's a
Yeah,
really powerful point we said there. Yeah.
bro. I like I've had, because I had that realization years ago whenever I first stumbled upon NoFap. I wasn't anywhere close to how I am now,
Mm.
but bro, so like someone hugged me and I literally started crying because I realized it's like, this is what I wanted. I wanted to be hugged. I didn't want to be like, jerking off, busting nuts all the time. I
Mm.
just wanted someone to hold me. And it's
Yeah.
okay to admit that as a guy. It feels nice to be hugged and held, man.
Yeah.
So
Bro, I'm all for it. Big one this year is crying. Like
yeah,
I don't get angry. I like to cry, but I'm just becoming more open to, and I love the Facebook world because the guys are so open, and we're like, there's so many of us now talking and making memes about crying, how good it is for us. And it's okay for guys to cry too. And it's
yeah.
emotional trauma release, and it feels so good, man, to acknowledge who you are as a man. Men do cry. Real men do cry.
I
Like,
cried the other day. So
cool.
I have a rebounder that I like to jump on, and it's in Texas. We don't really have too crazy of a winter right now.
Mm.
So the other day it was like 60 something degrees out, and there was no clouds, no chemtrails, nothing in the sky.
Mm.
So I took my trampoline out, was jumping, and I had my earbuds in. I was listening to some music, and I actually posted this song yesterday on my feed. There's a pop punk band I really really like named Set Your Goals,
Mm.
and they were like very positive lyrics, and they have this one song called Echoes. And bro, I'm jumping on my trampoline,
Mm.
and this whole song is about how like you'll destroy your fears, and don't let your setbacks win over you, and
Mm.
overcome your obstacles. And I just started crying while I'm jumping on my trampoline, and it was such a huge release, bro.
Yeah, I love
So
it.
much
Yeah.
just purged in like
It's
4 minutes.
amazing, man. Like you get those it detoxes you, it releases happy hormones, it's real.
Yeah,
And do you know what I think about crying? I think that it's impossible to lie to yourself when you
yeah,
cry. In that moment when you cry, you're never more honest with who you are. You're never more self-aware than when you cry. If you don't
dude,
cry, you ain't self-aware. You just ain't.
exactly, bro. And I have another little silly crying story. I wish I could remember the name of this type of meditation, but have you ever watched Elliot Hulse?
Oh, I love
That
that dude. I used to love
Oh
him. I still love him. I just don't watch
yeah,
his stuff anymore. I love the
I do
guy.
too.
Yeah.
He's very articulate, and I love watching him talk.
Mm.
But this was about, oh, if I had to put a timestamp on it, this was probably like 7 months ago, 6 or 7 months ago.
Mhm.
So somewhat recent, not too far away. Um, I was in here and I was watching him do a meditation, but it wasn't a meditation where you go within. It was a body meditation, right? And it had a few steps to it, and I'll try to remember them. The first step was like, I believe the first step was literally like grabbing a pillow and like yelling into it. If
Sounds like
um
Elliot. Yeah.
yeah,
Sounds.
of course he didn't say to use a pillow. I just had to because of my living situation. I have like nosy neighbors and stuff. He's just full on like yelling, right? And then I think that, and you do that for like 1 minute, and then the second step was to do this like low like
Oh,
like
yeah.
type sound,
Yeah.
and beat your chest, and then like you stand up. You're doing this standing up, and you let your heels like hit the earth, so you're bouncing, your whole body is reverberating, and you're going like, with each bounce.
Yeah.
And it's knocking all kinds of stuff loose out of you, like emotionally, right?
Yeah.
And then the third step was to like do some interpretive dancing, and everything was spaced out like a minute of each. And then by the end of it, dude, I was bawling. And I didn't know where it was coming from, but it felt amazing to just cry.
Yeah.
And I may have gotten his meditation steps like all out of order. I cannot remember, but I just remember it was powerful.
Yeah.
And that video is probably very easy to find of him teaching that.
Yeah.
But it's an active meditation. You're totally like, your eyes are open the whole time and all that. But I was bawling, bro. I was straight up like ugly crying.
Ugly crying. There's no such thing as ugly crying. It's I know what you mean though. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. My face was all like scrunched up too.
Like, please, no one come see me at this moment in time. It's my moment
Right.
of weakness and vulnerability.
But you're so right about what you said before I even got onto that. Is like, it is such a like self-intimate moment.
Yeah.
Because you are fully aware of your weaknesses and you're just letting go. Like, it feels so good to let go.
Yeah, in a society where we've been trained from birth to want, need, desire, to have control, to let go is like the ultimate flow.
It is. And when you don't let go, because I have so much experience with not letting go, that tension is trapped within your body. And I have struggled almost all my adult life with anxiety, tension, depression, fatigue. All of that stuff can be relieved somewhat with letting go.
Yeah, and it's funny, if you look back at your life story, I'm sure when you were younger, there would have been moments when the opposite crying, you probably would have been angry, bitter, and negative. And now you're like the opposite, and you're learning that, okay, I'm going to go with the flow and let it all out instead of keep it in and make myself worse.
Yeah. And there's a lot of guys can probably relate to this. We had programming when we were younger, probably most of us, where we were hurt by a situation, a person, an event, something, and we started to cry because it was our natural instinct, and we knew it would help us. Intuitively, we knew it would help us, but someone told us to stop crying.
Yeah, good point.
Over and over again. Stop crying. Stop crying. Stop crying. You're a man. Stop crying.
Yeah, you're a man. Stop crying. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and so you have to get beyond that programming loop too.
True.
And just let yourself cry. It's not a big deal. I mean, well, it is a big deal, but not in that way. It's a big deal for self, just allowing yourself to be.
Yeah. Also, while you're talking about that stuff, this might sound weird, but I heard recently about, laughter yoga. People say that if you fake laugh for 5 minutes, eventually you'll start real laughing. Well, how about this? It's gone through my mind. It might not be true. So see how it sits with you. How about if you even faked crying? Maybe if you faked crying long enough, you'd actually real cry. So in other words, if you can't cry, just try and fake yourself to cry maybe, and you will cry for real. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, bro. And
you watch me. I'm gonna blow up Facebook now with my fake crying, not laughing, fake crying shit. I mean, fake cry to laugh cry to real cry. It'd be amazing.
Yeah. No, I have family members who are actors, and like they do the fake crying, and it actually lets them really cry on stage or like on screen or whatever it may be. Like they use that to their advantage, bro. I mean, this, the mind is so powerful that if you act as if you are a certain like way, or you are a certain state of being, you become that. Like, you start to express that. So I mean, your subconscious does not know the difference between reality and imagination.
Exactly. And while I was talking about that, I thought it was quite cool now to talk about imagination. So what you're saying is, like, if we visualize our better self, then our reality, our brain would know the difference between us visualizing and the realities of us not achieving that yet. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They've done some interesting brain scans where okay, I'm really into reading and writing books. I used to want to write novels, so I have all these books on how to write novels, and I may do that later, but I was writing a werewolf novel, so that's not going to happen anymore now. I'm so beyond that level that I don't want to finish that book. It was a very dark book. So, but I had this one book, and it was about It was called The Storytelling Animal. And it's a nonfiction book just about why do we always tell stories? Why do we go see movies? Why do we write novels? Why do we read novels? Why do some people read the tabloids? Why do people watch TMZ and care about celebrities? Like what is it about story that grabs us, right? Well, one of the little tidbits in that book, it mentioned these brain scans. So they took people reading novels and they scanned their brains, and these people felt like they actually were the protagonist in the novel experiencing the story. Their brain knew no difference from their reality of them just sitting in the chair and the story of the book itself.
Yeah.
So there's power to acting as if, like, if you watch any like law of attraction person or any kind of information like that, they tell you to act as if you already have what you want, or act as if you already are what you want to express, because that's how you flip the switch in your subconscious mind. If you keep carrying yourself like you don't have what you want, you're never going to get it.
Yeah.
You have to act like you already have it.
Yeah, and you do.
And you do. Yeah, you do.
I did not know that. That makes complete sense to me, because when you asked the question, why the stories have in common, what was going through my mind was, well, the point of movies, in my opinion, is the hero's journey. So a lot of movies tend to be like Lord of the Rings style, and because they can do it, and you're watching them on the screen, you're cheering for them because they is you, and because they can do it, you can do it in your mind. And I like that aspect of it too. But also, part of me thinks, my lower self, and I think this is true, even though it's my lower self talking, says, unfortunately, people go to cinema and watch other people succeed and think they don't think they can do it. Really, they think they can, but they won't do it. That's a difference. They think they can do it, maybe, but they want other people to succeed. They don't want themselves to succeed. So they watch the movie because they want to feel good about other people walking hero's journey. But how about you turn inwards, guys, and how about you walk your own journey? Because the movie's there to inspire you, not to make you think, to cheer for other people. It's okay to cheer for other people, because that's what we do, bro. But we cheer for other people because we are full ourselves, because we're walking our own journeys. I'm not cheering for other people because I'm not. It's only because I'm doing it I'm cheering for other people. If I wasn't, I wonder if I would be cheering for other people. Yeah.
Bro, okay. I love talking about story, and what you just said about the hero's journey is so powerful, because yes, we are on our own hero's journey. And I actually was using the hero's journey as the model for my novel, like consciously. Some people don't plot out things. I plot, like I consciously use, these methodologies and like plant them into my story. So it's interesting because stories can be split into four parts. In Hollywood, they say a story is 3 acts, but the second act is always like twice as long as the first and third. So I split the second act in 2. So you have 4 parts. It's so much easier to deal with. The first part, the hero is in his ordinary world, and he is an orphan. The orphan is an archetype, a powerful archetype. Think about all your favorite superheroes. They're all orphaned, all of them. Literally, they're all orphaned in some way. They don't have to be a literal orphan, but they are either like missing love from parents, or like Harry Potter, for instance. He's like crammed into that little closet, and he's living with people other than his parents, and he's an orphan in a way.
In Lord of the Rings, Frodo's a very small hobbit that no one believes in, and
yes. This is a universal archetype. It literally, any story that is like a big seller that resonates with people.
Yeah.
The hero is an orphan in the first part. In the second part, the hero has now left his ordinary world and has ventured into the special world, where he's going to confront his own ego, his own weaknesses, and he becomes a wanderer. So he goes from orphan to wanderer. And then in part 3, after he's sort of dealt with himself a little bit, he's come across some obstacles that have really prodded his own weaknesses. He becomes a warrior in part 3, and he's still in the special world in part 3. And this is where he conquers his problem. He confronts his problem, and he finds that little piece of knowledge that finally like boosts him above his problem, and he just executes it, right? He grows beyond it. And in part 4, he returns to his ordinary world, a changed man, a hero, and he becomes a master.
Yeah.
So this is powerful. This is the stages we move in life. We go from orphan to wanderer to warrior to master.
We do. We do. And I was going to slay the dragon. You heard of slay the dragon? That's one of
Yeah.
the.
Yes.
You've got to slay the dragon, and then that
Yes.
point, like, yeah.
That's one of the most powerful mythological archetypes, is the knight slaying the dragon, and it's so symbolic too.
Yeah, absolutely. The hero's journey is everything. And that's why when I watch cinema, I feel like I'm not just watching it for entertainment. Films can make me cry. And the reason why is because I resonate with your hero's journey it's so portrayed well in some films that it moves me, because what you've achieved is inspiring me. And it's a relation of what I'm doing. We're all walking our journey in a hero's journey, especially people like us and people like watching this. It's nice to know that, and get those moments when you realize you're not alone and other people are walking heroes' journeys too. You're not the only person. And my God, is it so fucking, that's why we're talking to each other, bro. If we sum up why I do what I do, and probably why we do, it's the hero's journey. That's it.
Absolutely, bro. And if I were to evaluate myself in those 4 parts, I would say that I'm in the wandering phase, if I'm being totally honest with myself. Wandering is not a bad place to be, because you're seeking knowledge and you're being given tools and insights from your mentors. The mentor is a powerful mythological figure, an archetype. So I'm in the wandering phase, and I'm trying to become the warrior and the master, but you can't do it all in one day,
Exactly. I'd say maybe that's true, but I'd say you're flitting also, you're flitting with other higher stages, not fully permanently into your personality completely yet, but you're messing about with higher realms infrequently too, as you say, maybe you're in the wandering phase. So
yeah. And that's the beauty of it. I think you're right, is that nothing's linear here, everything is variant, everything is moving. The Kybalion says everything is vibrating, and I think you're totally right. Like you can't say that this is the problem with labels. You can't say that you're one thing, because you're constantly flipping between. It's kind of beautiful to think about though, because in any given situation you're actually entertaining tons of different archetypes. I mean, you can even be the shadow at sometimes,
Yeah. And this is another reason why I love ego, by the way. People say, oh, I don't like ego. Well, the ego, everything's ego in this duality existence, bro. Don't try to escape archetypes, archetypes, hero journeys, crying. All these things are amazing.
Yeah, dude, I love what you said too about the ego there. The ego is how we navigate through this dense realm. The ego is what we've been given to navigate. So to say, like, it's extreme to say to kill the ego. I do think the ego needs to be tamed, but not destroyed. You don't destroy the ego, because the ego is, you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
And then the beauty of it is there is no ego, because this is an illusory dream anyways. It's just an experience. But you need your ego and your personality in order to like interact with people and places and
to want to live here.
Yeah, exactly. And so there is no like getting rid of it, but there is a balance. So like you have your soul and you have your ego, or some people prefer to say their spirit and your ego. And we are constantly like fluctuating between the two. No one's entirely living 100% like in tune with their soul all the time. We're constantly dipping down to ego and then coming back up, coming down to ego and coming back up.
Right.
The more you listen to your intuition, you'll start to be more in tune with your soul. But
But at the same time, you probably agree that the hero's journey, the whole idea of the archetype of the hero is, I guess, ego. So there is nothing wrong with like, oh, okay, identify with the hero. Like, to me, that's ego for good. That's a benefit of ego. Like, there's people that ego for like, I'm going to become famous and make loads of money so I can sleep with loads of girls and do loads of unconscious things like eat shitty foods and do whatever I want to hurt people. That's not a good ego. Whereas good ego's a hero's journey, helping other people, right? Mission.
Right, absolutely. I think it all boils down to what benefits myself and others, and that's how you tap into like the good side of ego, right?
Yeah.
And whereas if you're trying to say it's like, let me satisfy my seven deadly sins, like lust and gluttony, and like, oh, I just want to bang all the hot chicks and eat all the delicious salty foods and the meats and all that. well, that's non-beneficial. That's going to hurt you in the end. That's not good ego. That's harmful ego.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it all boils down to, like, if you ask yourself, what's the most beneficial thing to do in any given situation? That's a great way to use ego.
Definitely. I think the most beneficial thing we've all been sent here to do is to serve others. How do we serve others? We serve ourselves and find our true nature. And our true nature is to be healthy and happy and to become the best version of ourselves in duality. And by becoming the best version of ourselves, we give permission for all those that are not, that are going ahead of us, behind us, to walk the path too. And then hopefully, once we're relieved of duties, everyone will just carry on doing that. And then just humanity keeps rising and it just never stops. And it becomes normal. For what we're doing now, I don't consider us normal compared to the unwoke for whatever reason. I think one day there will come a time where everyone is like us and that's normal, and we won't have to try so hard, and it will just be so effortless for us to constantly be high vibe.
Yeah, bro. It's just so beautiful thinking about, like, we can get lost in just thinking about so much unrelevant stuff, right? And then you think back on your past and how far you've come, and it's so beautiful. Like, I can get absorbed in a book that maybe isn't resonating with me, and then start thinking about why I don't like it. But then I realize that's not the important thing to think about. I need to reflect on my life and how far I've come so far. I don't need to waste my energy complaining about unrelevant things
Yeah.
and chasing unrelevant information. I used to go down all these rabbit holes with conspiracies, and I still am interested, but a lot of them are so negative and it's a waste of time.
Yeah. They're
Like,
wasting time to your current vibration. They weren't
they
a
are,
waste of time to a lower vibration.
that's
Yeah.
exactly true.
Yeah.
Like, I no longer get wrapped up in like what they are doing, with like shootings and all that. It doesn't happen in my reality. It's such a lower vibration that
Yeah.
I don't bother with it. I don't waste my time with it. I much rather pursue information that lifts me up, you know?
Exactly. What you can do, what you can do in this world to control what you can control. And pretty much the only thing you can control is yourself, and I can control me, and that's about
Yeah.
it. And if you inspire people, cool. If you don't, also cool.
Yeah. No, it's funny. You know this because in Facebook land, every once in a while you'll get someone who I I don't know what to call these people, but like, they hardly ever, their profile has no pictures. They don't make any posts, but they'll like come and laugh at you. You know, like on an inspirational post, you'll share something that actually has beneficial information, something that contributes to humanity, and they'll laugh at you and like maybe drop a comment, but their comments never make sense. And it's like,
Why are you doing that?
who are these people? And they've been popping up, like, you know, every once in a while, not all the time, but I don't get it.
It's interesting to watch, isn't it? I'll tell you what, with
It
me though, I found that I used to have 2 years since I started posting daily and taking Facebook very seriously as a medium to help people and to share my journey, really. But yes, the first year there was a lot of haters, and now, if I'm being honest, they're going away. And I'm not sure if that's just me, but I think what it is they can tell subconsciously that there's nothing to be gained from hating on me. Whereas before, when I was a little weaker and a little bit more taking more personally, they could. I'll give you another example of that too, bro. You might be interested. When I first wrote the book that came out in January, which I appreciate you writing lovely comments for, my Aged Urine book.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Well, what happened actually the first time that came out on Amazon was I got 4 reviews like in a couple of days, 1 star and like 1 good one. And do you know what happened to me? I took it so personally, bro. It's like I had a baby for the first time, and I wasn't strong in character. And this was my baby I just created. And I got so angry, man. I was so reactive in my mind. I was like, oh, I'm ruined now. I'm never going to sell any books. I'm destroyed.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's because I was weak. But now I'm at a place, now all of a sudden they've grown organically. People like you are writing good reviews. But now I don't even care if someone wrote bad reviews for the next one, because I've got tougher. The haters have gone away. They can
Bro, that is so beautiful, and that's such a great point you made about the subconscious mind, and how you realize that you were weak whenever they wrote those reviews, you know. Dude, I read through those reviews, by the way, and there was a couple that seemed kind of salty. Like, they here's the thing. They couldn't appreciate the information, and they were all caught up on like typos and things. It's like,
Yeah. Do you know what? Do you know what it was? It was people that have been on my Facebook watching me talk about urine for 2 years that never did it and didn't know I exist, didn't like my posts, obviously. I mean, they were watching silently, that decided to come out of the closet as soon as I got, released that book. They came out of the closet with that negative review.
right. Man, dude, I just read your book the day that I reviewed it, actually. I downloaded it on my Kindle, and so I sat outside and I was grounding. Matter of fact, it was the same day that I cried on the trampoline.
No way, synchro.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I was sitting outside. I had my feet on the ground and I was in the sunshine. And yeah, I read your book, and then I don't care about like all those people were whining about like little typos and things here and there. The information is absolutely invaluable. Like the information that it's not easily found on Amazon. So it's boom, it's right there.
Yeah.
And people are not those people that left the 1-star reviews, they're not appreciating the information you're sharing. Yeah. They're getting caught up on these trivialities. So,
and it goes deeper, bro, because that's the first ever book, I'm proud to say, showing off a little bit, but the first ever book on aged urine only. And let's be honest here, I'm sure you're going to agree with this. I think the next decade, and certainly when we get older and older, aged urine is going to blow up, bro. So what we just done by writing a book on it, the first one ever, what we just done? We just planted a seed of legacy. So that book actually, despite even bad content, but it has some truth in it. That is going to be like, well, I don't know. Maybe my ego's going crazy here, but like what we're doing now, what we're talking about, what we're sharing on Facebook, I believe we looked at as renegades and the pioneers for the future next 10 to 20 years. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, bro. You're definitely a pioneer with writing that book. I mean, it's incredible. And since we're on that topic, we talked about this earlier. I'm gonna fill this up real quick, and I'm actually gonna drink. I'm gonna fill a few ounces of aged on top of fresh and drink it on camera.
Let's do it. Yeah, man.
I'll step out of frame real quick.
Let's roll, bro. Yeah.
All right, so let's put my lid over here.
Drum roll, please.
Drum roll.
Yeah.
All right, so this is fresh.
Fresh urine, cool.
Nothing but fresh. And then I'm like you, Harry. I don't fear the plastic.
Nice, brother.
This is just the gallon of this is just the leftover gallon I had from the distilled water that I use. And this aged right here is only about a month old, but I aged it while on a juice fast or a juice feast.
Special quality aged urine.
Yeah, I was just consuming fruit juices and vegetable juices. So it still has calories, so I guess it's not a true fast, but very powerful stuff right here.
Yeah, damn right.
I had about maybe 8 ounces or so.
I'd say a month's pretty damn powerful, actually. 1 month. Yeah. Underrated that time period. It's good. Very powerful.
And this stuff actually smells good. And I know all urine is powerful, but all of my urine I collected from cooked food smells like very pungent. It like punches you in the face, and you have to like power it down. This stuff is. Well, I'll just show you.
Yeah.
It is so smooth, dude.
Nice.
I'm gonna add more to it.
Sure. Do you notice the breath slow down when you drink?
Yeah, instantaneous.
Yeah. This is how I wonder how anyone I don't understand when people say aged urine. I tried aged urine. I'm like, haven't you noticed the breath slow down? Like, are you blind? Like, are you stupid? Like, it really does make you calm, right?
Dude, and it's an instant, like I was already in a good mood, but it's an instant mood lifter.
Yeah, and we live in duality. We want mood lifters. We want to become more healthy and happier. So yeah, exactly.
I could feel it like lighting up my eyes too. It's like the weirdest sensation,
Yeah, it's so
but
beautiful.
it's very yeah, dude. It's just if you drink this, you'll feel blissed out.
Hmm. Yeah, removes depression, cancer, any kind of disease if you stay long enough on these things.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People will not believe how good this tastes, dude. Like,
Mm. What does it
like
taste like, that one? Is it like fresh fruits, fruity?
you know, it's very smooth and sweet. And I remember whenever I was on this juice feast, I was drinking a lot of orange juice.
Mm.
Yet this does not have any sort of like citrusy tang to it at all. This tastes very mellow. If I had to compare it to anything,
Mm.
I would almost compare it to apple juice, man. I don't know,
Nice.
like a watered down apple juice.
Yeah.
It's got some sweetness to it, man. It's very good.
Yeah, people don't realize this coconut water taste that we're talking about in
Yeah.
urine. Very
Oh,
possible. Very.
coconut water would be another great
Mm.
comparison. This actually does taste more so like a coconut water with like a hint of apple. Yeah.
And that's a really good sign. That means at the
Yeah.
time you were drinking, you were eating, you were very clean, bro. Very clean, healthy body, which is important. So, yeah.
Bro, I tried drinking this aged urine, which is also around a month old, maybe a month and a week.
Mm.
And this stuff I could not get down. It like
Mm.
it burned and
Oh, the fire water, we call that. Yeah, the fire water.
fire, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was painful and not enjoyable, and I
Yeah.
just couldn't get it down.
Yeah, it
And
still works, but yeah, you're right. You can't take
yeah,
it into account. So like, yeah,
yeah, it's not as enjoyable. So,
no,
um, and I mean, just the color difference is insane.
yeah,
Um, like this fresh urine was a little bit yellow
mm,
because I had a turmeric tonic last night,
mm,
so I had a lot of yellow on my very first morning urine today. I should have shown that on camera. Um, but dude, this was from eating my one meal a day potatoes and stuff like that in the
mm,
instant pot pressure cooker.
mm.
And there's actually all kinds of I don't think I can show this.
There's meat. Oh, yeah, that thing.
So
I don't know what it is. Still, I don't know. Mm,
yeah, a lot of people will call it ormus or
yeah, could be.
I don't know. It'll be fun though because I think what I'll do is drain all of the aged urine out of this jar into another jar and
Mm.
just play with that stuff, see what it is.
Yeah,
Feel it with my skin, you know, whatever.
sediment. That's it. Dr. Morselock would call it sediment
Yeah,
and waste.
sediment. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. On on to on the topic of Dr. Morse, a lot of people in the like a lot of people that are woke to a lot of things, they will not try urine because they think that it's a waste, a lymphatic waste, because they follow Dr. Morse like to a T. They don't question him because he is a powerful healer. Like he teaches you about the power of fruits, and
mhm.
you know he seems like a very genuine man,
Yep, agree.
um,
Mhm.
and he seems like he wants to help people heal their diseases. And
Yeah.
so it's funny to me because I can't tell you how many conversations I've had
Mm.
even since coming back. Like someone will bring up um, you know, the idea that like your kidneys need to filter and sediment and all of these related things, and they they seem to think that this is a waste product.
Yeah,
And
and it comes from him. And I'm actually with agreement with you. I've heard people say he's an agent. I don't think he's a disinfo agent because I think we're getting lost in the fact that actually he's a genuine, sincere man. And
yeah,
but at the same time, and let's be honest here, he's probably helped and will help more people than me and you. Well, maybe not actually, bearing in mind what's going to blow up urine therapy. Just go with the fact that he's going to help more people. I still believe, and you might agree with this, that fruits and all eating fruits is very powerful, but it's nothing
this
compared
is
to
true.
urine therapy, and especially when you mess with your aged urine. Like, it's comparing chalk and cheese. There's a huge difference in power.
And I think this is where it gets fun to play with because
Mm.
you can. So we like to eat for satiation and like just the enjoyment of like trying foods, right? And
Mm.
I mean, we get a little boost off of certain foods, and cooked foods is really a drug in my opinion.
Mhm.
Um, but we can still play in that realm if we so choose.
Yeah.
But the ultimate, like if you're striving for like the ultimate
Mm.
fruits, aged urine,
Yeah.
like super combo.
Yep, and plus lots of like Adrian enemas, Adrian drinking,
Yes.
maybe Adrian massaging, Adrian fasting, and then break the fast with fruits or Adrian fruits and only eat fruits. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Or juices, fruit juices too.
It takes a ton of discipline and a lot of work to get to that point, because even
Yeah.
on the juice feast that I collected this batch from, I was tempted every day to eat something from my old routine. Like every day I was wanting to make something with potatoes. But I went 9 days on juices and just collected a bunch of, I have like 4 gallons from that feast.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's, this path is full of like perceived ups and downs, you know. Nothing is good, nothing is bad. It's just things are beneficial or they're not. So
Yeah, you're either coming up in health and happiness with vibration, or unconsciously, like most people are doing, you're going down. So you're going, yeah. Nice, very.
dude, that's the stuff right there.
I can tell, man. This is it's reminding me of the smells of my own and other people's. So the other people I smell when I go visit. So
Yeah.
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 This has been great, man. I would like to, before we leave though, I would like to maybe if you could conclude with a statement or something that I didn't actually ask you that's kind of important, or you can just conclude with something, a final message for people to leave them with that's powerful.
All right. I've got a message for the gentleman. Retain your seed. Root out all pornography because it'll only benefit you. Eat more fruits, even if you eat some cooked foods, that's fine. Drink your urine. Drink some aged urine. You won't regret it. Instant mood lift. I personally haven't done an aged urine enema yet, but I have done a fresh urine enema, and that was very, very exciting. But yeah, my ending message is, what's the most beneficial choice you can make right now that will help you and help others, and do that thing.
Yeah, that's powerful. Do what you can do, the most beneficial.
Yes. Ask yourself, what's the most beneficial thing I can do right now, and do that thing.
And if you don't know it, check out our channel and watch our stuff, and start adding people on Facebook, and don't think you're alone, because you're not. There's loads of us that doing this.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing. This is kind of random. I just had this intuitive thing. I watched your video on hand yoga, and
I'm doing it now, actually. Weirdly, the whole I've been holding my hands like that. Yeah, that's another thing, yeah.
Just powerful, very, very, very powerful thing. I was looking at some charts on the human hand, and I don't memorize it, but like each one of these little segments of your, like where your knuckles form, they apply to certain organs. And so like your hand is a hologram of you.
Yeah.
It's like a holographic imprint of your whole body. And then so it's no coincidence that like the praying motion, this actually synchronizes both hemispheres of your brain.
Yes.
And I just wanted to give you, I didn't really go into this like I kind of wanted to, the esoteric value of the King James Bible. There's verses like, the kingdom of God is at hand.
At hand.
The kingdom of God is at hand.
In your fingertips.
Yeah. At hand. And the reason why I say that is because there's also another verse that says the kingdom of heaven is within you.
Yeah, heard that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you know, I get accused of cherry picking, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm cherry picking. But it's because these verses resonate with me on like a totally different level than just reading a literal historical text, you know. There's clues peppered throughout, and the kingdom of God is at hand.
Yeah, the hands are the key to that, just like the eyes, the windows to the soul. There's verse in the Bible about the eyes too, saying the eyes open, the light of Jesus or something. Yeah.
If thine eye be single, then thy body will be full of light.
Oh, that's the one. Well done for it. Yes.
And if thine eyes are full of darkness, what great darkness is in the body?
Get more sunlight.
Yeah, activate that pineal gland.
Yeah.
Absolutely, bro. So yeah, anyways, my my final message is just do the beneficial thing. Even if it's just putting your hands together and you know, synchronizing your brain hemispheres.
Definitely, brother. It has been absolutely. This is the longest. I loved it though. This is the longest. I'm very proud to say the longest interview we've done because I enjoyed it so much. Normally, I'm like 1.5 hours in. I'm like, oh, come on. Sometimes I'm like, oh, come on. But then this one, I was like, no. So thank you very much for being here with us. I'm so glad we've done this interview. I'm looking forward to your interview with John tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to airing this one. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to air it quite quick. I don't want to wait too long. I've got some other people on backlog, but I want the best ones out first. So yeah, thank you again, Seth. Seth. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is Seth. I had a moment there. I had a moment when I thought, if I just say his name wrong, like it is Seth. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
No,
so
you got it right, bro.
Yeah. Thanks for being with me, man. And I really appreciate you and keep up the good work, brother. And I hope that you stick around Facebook. And if you take breaks, that's cool too. But yeah, I just hope that we're going to know each other for a long time and we're going to grow and learn together. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah, bro. Thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure.
It's all right, bro.